your fitness routine should reflect the goals that you want to accomplish. For example, if you are a beginner who wants to build confidence, build basic strength, balance, mobility, and just basic fitness, your goals are going to be much different than those who are in the intermediate and pro phase who are trying to build more strength and endurance. And even more different are those who are doing bodybuilding and athletic competitions or anything in athletics where they have a very set and specific routine based on their goals of their sport that they are doing. Now, there are different kinds of a beginner status. So there are the beginners that are true beginners that have never worked out before and need to learn, and their muscles have to learn. And then there are those who consider themselves beginners because they've known how to work out, they've done a fitness routine before, but it's just been a really long time and they're jumping back into it. So they have to get their body used to it all over again. And then you have those who are coming back from injuries or postpartum after having a baby. So there are different ways to start your routine. So as a beginner, you can start with a very basic routine, or you can start with any of these that I have on the side right here, you can see. So for those who are postpartum, I like to do, as a trainer, I set up a different kind of set structure. So I usually set it up in a way that you allow your body to learn balance again. Because after you're having a baby, your abdomen muscles, your core muscles, you have to basically rebuild from scratch. So as a beginner or postpartum mom, I do like to incorporate for my clients or people that I have recommended routines to, I do like to recommend a mixture of workouts. So instead of doing the basic 6-day split of chest, triceps, shoulders, back and biceps and legs, and then the repeat, instead I will mix up the muscle groups and still keep them separated. So for example, I would have back with legs one day, and then I would have a chest, triceps, shoulders, abs the next day, and then a cardio and balance all together for the third day, and then I'd repeat those 3. And then the next week I'd make it completely different, still infusing all those muscle groups in a way that still works the core. So that way every day you're getting core and balance, but in a very specific set way. Now the reason I do this is because it will build confidence back into that person, and it will build strength and mobility and stability without having to feel like you're doing the same thing every day. Because what you really want to do is gain that motivation to jump into it again the next day. So if you keep it mixed up and you keep the body learning and growing and doing better, losing weight, and all the things you're trying to achieve, you're gonna want to jump in the next day and keep going. So that is why I do the different split routine that way. For postpartum moms, your core strength is basically back down to 0, because after having a baby, the muscles are literally split and then you have to bring them back together. So that is why I put postpartum moms into the beginner phase, because you have to build that core strength all over again. You may still have all your upper body strength, you might still have all your leg strength, but realistically all that core strength for most moms, I'm not going to say all, because there are some moms out there that after a month or 2 of having their baby, they bounce right back in and it's like their body didn't change at all. It was pretty awesome. But for many of us moms out there, your stomach is just not the same anymore. You have the extra bit here, muscles are split here. If you put your hands in the center, you can feel the legitimate split between your muscles. So that is why I incorporate different kinds of things into my program to help bring those muscles back together, to stabilize the core and build strength all around and not just into the arms and the legs. So in the description box below, I do have a link that will lead you to my website. On my website, if you click into the group training, you can do this solo or you can do it with a group. If you do it as a group, I do have group discounts. But in that, it's a 30-day routine that splits your routine in a very specific way to build all those things I had just spoken of, And it keeps you accountable, and you get to add in different goals as well through the app. You can add in step goals, nutrition goals, sleep goals, heart rate goals, so many different fun things you can incorporate into that. But if you decide to go into that and you see how I set up the system, you'll see different ways of the routine. So every day is different for those 30 days, but every day incorporates strength, stability, mobility, and core and balance. So if you're interested in that, check that out. All right, so for those who are in the intermediate or pro phase, now all of these clients or all of these people that I have trained in this area, it all depends on how many days you work out, really. If you do 3 times a week, I usually recommend 3 total bodies. So 3 days of total body workouts, incorporating cardio every day, so that way you keep the heart and the lungs healthy. If you are doing 4 times a week, then I would usually do an upper body, lower body split, and of course, a daily 20 minutes of cardio to keep the lungs and heart healthy, of course. If you are doing 5 days a week, I would usually do upper, lower, total body, upper, lower. Now, if you do 6 days a week, that's when I would go into the crazy split of chest, triceps, shoulders, back and biceps, legs, and then repeat that process. And the reason for that is you cannot do the same muscle group twice in a row. You need at least 24 hours to 48 hours of rest in between for those muscles, so that way they can grow stronger and they can recover from that last workout you did. Now, just on a little side note, if you just did a leg workout the day before and you feel like you can do a whole nother leg workout the next day, that means the leg workout you did the day before was not challenging enough. So that means the next time you do your leg workout, bring up the heat, bring up the intensity, bring up the weights, make it more challenging for yourself. Make that a rule of thumb. If you feel like you can go all out the next day, that means you didn't work hard enough. So now this point is not necessarily true for those who have been accustomed to working out for quite a long time, because as a trainer, as someone who just loves to work out, there are times that you do really good workouts and you do amazing work, and the next day or the next 2 days, you're not sore. But that didn't mean your workout wasn't good enough. That just means that your body is so tuned to working out that you don't feel the soreness anymore. And it takes a lot to make you really sore. In that case, you still need to give your muscles the 24 to 48 hours of rest in between, even if you don't feel the soreness, just because your muscles are already used to that feeling, so you don't feel it as much anymore. So if you are in that intermediate and pro phase, I do recommend that you add into your warm-up the moves that you used to do in your beginner phase. That way you keep the mobility within the muscles and the joints of the body, and you hold on to that stability and core strength, and you just keep it growing as opposed to ignoring it altogether. Because if you remember, the whole reason of doing that in the beginner phase was to give you that mobility in the first place. But if you stop working on the mobility, over time, the mobility becomes less and less, and you end up with super tight muscles and risk of injury. So include that into your warm-up and cool-down phases if you're in the intermediate or pro phase. Now on to my very last part right here. If you are in the bodybuilding and athlete phase, now here is where they usually have coaches and specified trainers setting their routines based on their sport-specific goals or their bodybuilding timeline that they're going for their shows or whatever event they're going for. So now these ones, they have very specific routines just for that. So my word of caution is if you go to the gym or you're just watching people on YouTube, or you're watching people just around Instagram or social media sites and they're telling you to do this set of routine because it'll help you with this, this, and this, be sure to ask yourself, do their goals align with your goals? Because if their goals are different than your goals, you're gonna find yourself achieving different things than you wanted, if that makes sense. So don't just copy anybody's routine. Make sure that the goals align if you're gonna copy a system. And the way you base your routine is basically the time you have to give and what your goals are. So ask yourself, what are my goals in the first place? Are you looking as beginner mode where you need to gain mobility, stability, endurance, basic strength, core strength? Or are you in that intermediate phase where you're just trying to build up more strength and more endurance? Then you have to ask yourself, how many days a week are you going to work out? Are you working out 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week? You have to find out what time frames you're going to be working out in. So if you look at the screen to my side here, you'll see the different ways that I have split up people's routines as a trainer. And keep in mind, this all depends on the available time in your schedule, but I always incorporate cardio into every day to help with weight loss, to help with healthy lungs and a healthy heart. So kind of take a look at that side note right there. But do keep in mind that that is not how I always do split routines, because every person is different, and especially beginners or for postpartum moms, they have a different set of goals that they need to accomplish. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope it was insightful and helpful for you in some ways. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave that in the box below. And definitely reach out if you want to get your own custom routine set. You can follow the links that are in the description box below there. But I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But have a wonderful, amazing day.